safety, cost, and rate setting of these meters without a factual basis. There is a Department of Health Services study from the state of California that found 3.2% of Californians are EMF sensitive. A tariff to opt out will violate Public Utility Code Section 453B, which prohibits a tariff being placed on any ratepayer because of a medical condition. So my request today is that you either deny or oppose the order, or at least put the order over until hearings are conducted on the contested issues of fact. Thank you very much.
Jeff Jordan, Alden Catholic, Trina Johnson, and then Joe Robbins.
Hi, Jeff Nordahl. You made a comment earlier that you'd like to hear nice comments from us, and I suggest if you want nice comments, please respond to our requests, and when you issue decisions 2 days before Thanksgiving that totally override the ALJ due process that we've been promised here, you're going to get people who are upset about that. But what I want to speak specifically to, and I think this is the $2 billion question that I hope one of you commissioners can ask, is what is the instantaneous peak power of a smart meter? Not time average, not taken over a 30-minute time. Because a smart meter acts like a strobe light. It blinks once every 10 seconds or so. If you average that over 30 minutes, you're going to get almost 10 seconds of nothing and then one very intense peak. That's why people are getting sick, is because that intense peak is very strong, and that's the question that needs to be asked. Instantaneous peak power, please ask PG&E directly what that amount is. You will find out why people are getting sick.
Thank you. Edward Johnson, followed by Joe Robinson, and then Dee Burris.
Hello, my name is Dr. Katharina Johnson. I'm a family physician from Europe, from Austria. And we know that 3% of the population is electro-hypersensitive, with 30% of the population is sensitive. This will become more and more, the number will be more and more, because the radiation put out by the smart meters, it has a cumulative effect. In Sweden, it's a recognized disease, electro-hypersensitivity. And I saw a letter from the Karolinska Institute of Sweden, which is the seat of the Nobel Prize, awards the Nobel Prize from medicine and physics. It has warned the CPUC of the implementation of the smart meters because they know it is a dangerous technology. And the PG&E tells us that the smart meters are safe, but this is not true because they have only studied their thermal effects. They've never looked into the non-thermal effects. And we know from research that the non-thermal effects of the radiation can harm mitochondrial dysfunction, can harm red blood cells, white blood cells. It's going to weaken the blood-brain barrier. It can lead to toxins into the brain. It can induce a stress response by high cortisol levels, and the list goes on and on and on. And that's why we're seeing all these diseases in people. And I really hope that you will take this into consideration and immediately stop the smart meter program. This needs to be stopped, and we need to have our analog meters back.
Thank you. Joe Robinson, to be followed by Dee Burris and Earl Burris.
Hello. I would like to propose an add-on to your opt-out that will consider those of us who become ill from smart meters or who are electrically sensitive, as I've become. I have a note from my doctor. I do much better with an analog meter. I'm fine. I'm normal with an analog meter. I did have my smart meter replaced with a digital meter, which I think is what is proposed right now in the current opt-out. It has not provided relief. But then I house sat for a friend in Tiburon for a while, and I felt great. I felt fine. I didn't feel hyper. I didn't have heart palpitations. I didn't have all the symptoms that everyone keeps talking about that sent me to the emergency room that I've never had before. I believe there are more than 3% of the population suffering, some coming under the radar. Last time I was here, President Peevey, you always look so kind. I'm the kind of person that wants to believe in you and believe that you are here to represent us. I want to. I'm that kind of person, despite what everybody's saying. The last time I was here, I said, who can I talk to? You said, go talk to this PG&E representative. And we all went to talk to him and hound him, and he said, I can't do anything until this opt-out comes through. And I said, but you're proposing a digital meter. I know, President Peevey, that you had, I know that a few people got analog meters after they spoke here. So I was hopeful. So the PG&E rep said, well, that was because President Peevey told us to put analog meters on. So I feel like you gave me a runaround and like you're picking and choosing who deserves it or who's sicker, and that's just not fair. I have a special needs son who also can't sleep. He's 9.5 years old. He does fine when he's not around this. Even with my digital meter, this is the point I'm trying to make, it's not enough. Those of us who are electrically sensitive, those of us who are suffering, if we have a note, if we have something so we can have an analog, I've never gone over time before, but I had to say that. Please.
I got it. Thank you. Dee Burris, we follow Earl Burris, and then Vicky Seaver.
Hi. I've never done this before, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm here for my rights. My health has been adversely affected after the smart meter was installed, and I'm a registered nurse, so I do know what I'm talking about. I've had neurological and cardiac sudden symptoms that I didn't have before. The migraines are horrible. There's no reason for them. The neurologist can't find any reason for them. The MRIs are all negative. Now I'm having cardiac arrhythmias. And that's frightening to think somebody at my age is having cardiac arrhythmias. Cardiologist doesn't know why I'm having these cardiac arrhythmias. Well, we all know why. It's because of the smart meter. I want the smart meter out. I want my analog meter back, and I shouldn't have to pay for it. I've already had to pay with the co-payments, the medical co-payments for the ER visits, for the doctor visits, and everything else. I want my analog meter back. Thank you.
Earl Burris. I think. Are you Earl Burris?
I'm Vicky Sievers.
What?
I'm Vicky Sievers.
I know, I asked Earl Burris.
I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. The restless feelings here this morning are palpable. The PG&E customers who've experienced profound loss, worsening illness, and despair. They and others need a smart meter opt-out solution that will solve problems that Mr. Peevey's proposal will not. The extortionate cost, the chattering, surrounding neighborhood mesh of chattering, spiking meters, the problem of co-location of meters in multiple unit buildings, and the undeniable problem of dirty electricity produced by the switching mode power supply in both radio off meters and digital meters. We Americans love science and technology and speed, the quick cure, the quick fix, the quick buck. But these pursuits tend to fragment us. They separate us from each other and from our wisdom and our ethics. California's energy policies are not gospel. They are not gospel. They can be investigated. They are doing harm. Please defeat this proposal and investigate this harm.
I'll make this short. Smart meters are a problem that we didn't ask for. We should be allowed to opt out, and I just don't think it's fair that we should have to pay any additional monthly fees to opt out. Thank you.
Luella Arguelles, be followed by Louise McTurnan.
2 months ago, we got a phone call from a very lovely person in your customer service department saying that PG&E was coming out to take out the smart meter that I've been complaining about for over a year. Unfortunately, we have 20 other smart meters right next to the smart meter that was going to come out. So when I asked the lady about it, she said, well, if I got the consent of my neighbors, then you would remove them. But my neighbors had to be polled individually by her. She wanted to make sure that I wasn't making this up. So I contacted them, and all but one have agreed. But 1/3 of them will only do it if there's no cost. So this leaves us in a big bind because, as you know, there are many concerns, particularly since my son already has had problems with blood-brain barrier and has anemia, which I understand the white blood cells, red blood cells, those things are affected by different sorts of frequency. So we need help on this because there's no way that people who live next to banks who have health concerns can do anything about it if their neighbors don't come. We need analogs. Thank you.
Louise McTurnan, be followed by Patrick Roddy.
As a breast cancer survivor, I'm very concerned about the recent findings of healthcare providers. The average range of a woman's annual thermogram for breast health has increased from TH2 to TH3. TH5, the highest, is highly suspicious for cancer. Women have reported to their providers that since smart meters have been installed, they have not felt well, and at the same time, their thermograms showed this increase in heat. This is a frightening trend for any woman, but especially for those of us who have already experienced cancer. The CPUC is in a silent partnership with a private corporation, pg&e. Their relationship is veiled in secrecy laws. This secrecy is being challenged by City Attorney Dennis Herrera and horrified State Senator Leland Lee. The CPUC is now being exposed, is coming under full view, and will not be able to hide any longer. Only a return to analog meters will alleviate this public health crisis brought on by the smart meter program. Thank you.
Patrick Roddy, to be followed by Sudi Skull and then Lauren Almeida.
When you took your posts, you swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, both of California and the United States. These smart meters are wiretap devices. They're in clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. And this puts you at odds with your oath. Obviously, the health issues are critical. I mean, it's all been covered by the other people, but we don't want to be wiretapped. We get enough of that from iPhones and cameras everywhere. Having yet another thing where if you turn your toaster on at 3 in the morning, why should PG&E know that? All they need to know is one number: how much energy we use in a month. Period. 10,000 signals a day from a meter. I mean, what is that? I mean, that has not been answered, and I think you should address those.
And Lauren Paul Mathieu.
Hi there. Authoritarianism has become a badge at the CPUC. The smart meter program was quietly approved without an EIR. When the public came forward with serious physical symptoms and asked for a health study, the CPUC did not take action. During the legal opt-out hearings, PG&E could no longer lie. The smart meter is not a 1 watt, but ranges from a 2.5 watt to a 4 watt. With a ham radio, you can communicate with South America using less than 1 watt. PG&E claims 6 pulses a day. Instead, there are minimally 10,000 a day. I wonder why this is a public health emergency. Now President Peevey wants to halt the opt-out hearings. I just completed an informal study with various health centers that perform thermograms to monitor women's breasts. Many of them stated that uniformly women's breasts show more heat since the deployment of smart meters. Now we women have to fight for our breasts. Bottom line, we need analog meters. They should cost nothing else, or this program is not a true opt-out program. We need smart meter free zones for those of us like me who are really sick. I beseech you, commissioners, to vote a resounding no to this opt-out proposal. We, the public, we are not expendable. Thank you.
It's Lauren Palmetier now, right? Yes, that's me. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me here. I am Lauren Palmetier. I have a PhD in electrical engineering since 1989 at Cornell University. I worked at Bell Labs in radio frequency electronics since 1978 for a Nobel laureate. I live in Hayes Valley. I have meters and I measure RF. And around the city, it's increasing every day. It's fun to watch. I love electronics. One of the main reasons that smart meters are so dangerous is that the body uses the 6 to 8 hours sleep that we get in order to regenerate and restoration and recovery. So that's one of the reasons why it's coming out so much. I've studied the field extensively for 30 years, and now I look into the data because I find it fascinating. It's my thing, you know. Never imagined everybody would be into it like me. What I find a little distressing, and maybe we can have an educational program, is that, you know, the comparisons that you take as really good data, they're not so good. And like a high school student, if they had that as their take-home program, they'd get an F. So I actually applied for a job on your website. I'd like to be over there and help. So please consider me for your position. Thank you.
I think the suggestion is made for you to write to Governor Brown.
We will.
Heidi Rose. That was not very
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Heidi Rose. I'm speaking on behalf of the group StopSmartMeters.org. On November 4th, 2010, the head of PG&E's Smart Meter program, William Devereaux, was caught using a fake identity in order to access private email lists of smart meter opponents. Devereaux was subsequently forced to take the heat for this spying episode and resign his position. Yet internal emails suggest that espionage against PG&E's customers was simply company policy. PG&E even hired Edelman Group, a corporate security firm, to shadow customers opposed to the smart meter installations, photograph them, and infiltrate their groups. We remind the Commission and the public that this is a company meant to provide a critical public service safely and reliably. Instead of spying on us, PG&E could have simply sat down and engaged in an honest discussion about health and safety. Instead, they chose to call us insurgents and wage a war against those protecting the public health. It's no wonder we do not trust PG&E, particularly with our private data. Your Consumer Protection and Safety Division has launched an investigation into the illegal activities of the senior management of PG&E, a wise move. But the CPUC has colluded with the utility to censor these internal emails while distributing our own private emails to anyone who requests them. We ask simply that the utility be held responsible for their illegal and immoral actions, and that the internal discussions about this covert espionage be made public. And to those of you in the audience and watching from home, don't wait for the insufficient opt-out plan. Hire a professional. Have your meter replaced with an analog. Do not suffer. Thank you.
I'm Alan Horn. I'm an honorably discharged United States military veteran. Many people would be alive today if PG&E had not had the culture of secrecy that surrounds it. According to the Chronicle, on November 27th, PG&E considers, quote, everything is secret unless it is declared otherwise, unquote. This is not consistent with the democracy under which we live. Your culture of secrecy would have worked well in Nazi Germany or fascist Italy, but you will no longer be tolerated by the freedom-loving people of the democracy known as the United States of America. Opt-out means people retain their perfectly good analog meters. Your so-called opt-out scheme is a classical example of extortion and will likewise not be tolerated.
Concerns over the health effects of EMF and RF emissions from smart meters are being ignored by the utilities and this commission. It's so convenient to say it's not in our jurisdiction or health effects are outside the scope of this proceeding. One conclusion of law in the current opt-out proposed decision requires, quote, the best opt-out option to be adopted must balance the concerns expressed by customers against California's overall energy policy. There's no balance here. I'm told to call PG&E after the decision is finalized to sign up for a radio off or a radio out RF meter when my health has already been compromised by overexposure to man-made EMFs. And if I don't, within the notice time, my analogs will be replaced with smart meters. This is outrageously threatening. What will you allow PG&E to do to accomplish this? Break down my fence? Bring the police to haul me away? Shut off my power? And one more thing. Individual opt-out within a mesh network means nothing. Thank you.
Richard Gavin, to be followed by Lisa Moscow.
Good morning. In October 2009, PG&E stealthily replaced the analog meters in my home. Within the same month, I developed sudden and horrible physical symptoms. I felt a heavy pressure in my head with a horrible headache I never had before. It felt like I was going to faint with a feeling of dizziness, and my vision was bothered as well. My stomach bothered me, and I felt like I was going to throw up. There was a couple of times I lost my balance and almost fell forward in the hallway of my home, and also in the bath as I showered. I also started to forget words. A few months later, in 2010, when I attended the Green Festival in San Francisco, there was a group in front of the building who, unlike PG&E, cared enough to inform people about the effects of the smart meters. The leaflets they gave out showed listed symptoms I felt that I had. Naturally, I felt worried and angry. Now I feel the intermittent symptoms that everyone else describes. I can't stay home all day anymore because I start feeling horrible. I'm here to ask CPUC and PG&E to give us back our analog meters. God's word says that we have to be compassionate towards one another and not motivated by anything else. To add insult to injury, PG&E want to charge us for the removal of the smart meters and a monthly charge on top of that. We did not cause this problem. You did. It was incumbent upon you to tell us that the smart meter caused physical symptoms which are felt by many. So please listen to us, and thank you.
Lisa Moscow. Pulsed radio frequencies are a weapon, a military weapon. Recently, just this week, Newt Gingrich in his speech talked about pulsed radiation is a weapon. When we were first given the smart meters, against our will, we were told they pulsed 4 times a day. Then it was all of a sudden, well, it's more than that. Now it's actually, the figures I've heard are between 10,000 and 22,000 pulses a day. It's the pulse that causes the health problems. Why do we need 10,000 pulses a day to determine our energy usage? That's a question I have. And the opt-out is not an opt-out, because basically it's still a radio transmitter, it's still dirtying the electricity in our house. We still have to deal with the entire mesh. And just to let people know about the degree of what a pulse is, the regular transmission is, if that is an inch, the pulse is about 15 inches above that. So we're talking about extreme radical energy. Thank you.
Next is Jolie Andrzakis, be followed by David Hubert.
So, after being extremely ill for 2 years, in 2001 I finally found a neurologist who was able to make a diagnosis using EMF provocation and accepted medical tests. The test revealed that exposure to electromagnetic radiation and radio frequency radiation microwaves cause me to have toxic encephalopathy, which is a heating of my brain, a 17% decrease in the vital capacity of my lungs, a very significant drop of 140 points in my attention span, with a 40-point increase in risk-taking, and inflammation of my reproductive organs. Since then, I have been disabled and forced to live at the edge of society with a good distance from cell phone and other wireless radiation and towers. I am unable to live a normal life or be with people because of cell phones and Wi-Fi. Now with the advent of smart meters, my life is in great danger. The high amount of radio frequency radiation microwaves they emit, the mesh network creating a microwave smog, and the dirty electricity they create throughout the house wiring makes me immediately sick. To protect my life, I cannot go to towns, houses, or businesses where smart meters are installed. Just being here to share my story exposes me to danger. How can the CPUC put people which it was hard to protect in danger? How can you force people like me to become environmental refugees living in tent cities or forced to move to other countries to survive? How can you expose children like my granddaughter to cancer causing and DNA damage of smart meters? How can you allow utility companies to conduct wireless surveillance on its customers? Thank you.
Dave Hubert, to be followed by Nancy. Hubert.
Hi, I'm Dave Hubert, and this is kind of sad because a lot of these people that you're listening to are very nice people. They have no axe to grind. They're not angry people. They're hurting, and they're not making it up. I've seen too much of it, unfortunately. I think we're in a situation kind of similar to the 50s, 1950s, where cigarettes were fine. It wasn't until the data came out, about that time that, well, maybe they're not so fine. Asthmatics, being around cigarette smokers, couldn't stand it. They couldn't smoke themselves, and they couldn't be around cigarette smokers. We've gotten to the point right now where, secondhand smoke is ridiculous. And unfortunately, the opt-out makes people who are electrically sensitive, and that's about 3% of the population, are like in a room with secondhand smoke. That's the best analogy I can use. And I would have thought we would have learned a little something by the initial situation. I know you want to make it right, but I know also the options are limited. That's the problem. It's the money and the options. But there are a lot of people that are so very unhappy, and they shouldn't be driven out of their homes or thinking of leaving. There are people that think, I can't stand this, I have to get away. That's just not the way to live.
Thank you. Nancy Hubert, to be followed by Orlean Kolick.
Just as a little sidelight to Dave's speech, consider that cigarettes, imagine if we were only considering them a danger if you got burned by them or they caused a fire. That's what we're talking about. With smart meters, people are just going, well, if you're not getting burned, if they're not heating your body up until you die, or if they don't cause a house fire, you're okay. Anyway, here's my own speech. A dear lifelong friend of mine was recently diagnosed with a fast-growing breast cancer. It's already 2 centimeters. She lives in a smart metered neighborhood, and she herself was smart metered about 1.5 years ago. I understand, commissioners, that you have enormous responsibilities on many fronts. Your smart meter policy, however, is one that directly affects all Californians. All Californians who buy electricity from utilities. It affects their health and well-being, and not just the health of those who feel the immediate effects like me and many of the people here. It affects the health of all people in accelerated aging, many health problems, and future cancer susceptibility. Your proposed opt-out discriminates against the poor, the sick, and ensures that even those willing and able to pay these rather high fees will get no relief unless they're wealthy and live out on acreage somewhere. Because all of their neighbors will have smart meters. I can't ensure that my neighbors, especially the ones in apartments, am I supposed to pay all this money for them to opt out? No, these people are not going to opt out. And so we will be exposed to intense mesh networks of microwave radiation.
Thank you.
If the smart meters are there. The ability of a fired bullet to kill is due to the peak force exerted, not some time averaged force. Averaging the force over minutes, hours, or days of time should not be allowed to obscure the killing force of the bullet. That is what the smart meters do. And wired meters are not the solution. They cause dirty electricity, switching mode power supply problems. We need to keep our analog meters.
Yes.
My name is Orlene Perla, and you have heard me before. I represent an organization called Eagle Forum of California. I was asked to speak for a national conference October 4th back in Washington, D.C., because of the book that I wrote, Just Say No to Big Brother's Smart Meter, that all of you have a copy of. And I found out there from other doctors and scientists, actually we have 9% EMF sensitivity in our nation now. And I think it is steadily going up. It'll go up each year. I also would like to speak about the fact, in the last chapter of my book, I mentioned where this is really all coming from. Smart meters are not just here in our nation, they're across the world. This is a United Nations plan. It is being implemented here in California through a program called ICLEI, which stands for the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives. PG&E and ICLEI are bedfellows together. CPUC also supports ICLEI. And I would ask that if you really want to solve this problem, we must get out of our membership with ICLEI. Thank you.
Jennifer Delaney, be followed by Sandra Ross.
Good morning, and thank you for listening to me. We would like to make you aware of what is written in an important California code, section 11121-21. It is the public policy of the state that the public agencies exist to aid in the conduct of the people's business. The people of the state do not yield their sovereignty to agencies which serve them. The people in delegating authority do not give them, their public servants, the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created. You are a public agency created by the people. You and your various utility companies, PG&E and Southern California Edison, etc., are supposed to be serving us, not being our Lord and Master telling us what we can do and what we cannot do with our own property and our own electrical devices. Thank you.
Sandra Ross, to be followed by Frank Hager.
Dr. Sandra Ross. Practitioners are reporting serious symptoms patients suffer from unsafe electricity from all digital meters. A well-known neurology clinic told me that EMF reduces production of vitally important neurotransmitters, including serotonin, dopamine, and melatonin. This adversely impacts cognition, depression, anxiety, quality of sleep, and immune system functioning. You know deep in your being these meters are damaging people. Hiding behind industry research and utility manipulated numbers does not protect you. Alter the proposed opt-out decision to read that people can have analogs until time-of-day tariff is fully implemented and direct utilities to create a meter that does not put dirty electricity on the lines before the tariff can be activated. Thank you.
Frank Hager, to be followed by Amy O'Dare.
Frank Hager, Fairfax. I've served on public agency boards and commissions for 47 years, including California's first Prop 20 Coastal Commissioner and 7 terms as Mayor of Fairfax. I authored Fairfax's first draft of the Smart Meter Moratorium Ordinance. Since I last testified before you, my wife has been diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer. Had surgery, 3 months of chemo, and today is having her 22nd radiation treatment. We purchased a getaway home in Mendocino County, Ukiah, a public power city with PG&E gas. I received this card in the mail last week from PG&E stating they were coming on our property to check our new gas meter. I called the 800 number, and to tell them they never advised me they were putting a smart meter on our home. I told them my wife had cancer, and her oncologist advised her that she could never be readed again in her upper left torso. I asked that the meter be removed. They said no. They said they didn't have to tell me they were putting a smart meter on our home. And they said that the CPUC ordered them to put the meter on. We spent Thanksgiving in Ukiah and found the smart meter is under the bedroom window. Please allow an incorporated city to opt their whole city out. We should not have to pay to opt out or have our smart meter removed. Sunday's Chronicle made it clear PG&E and the utilities control the CPUC. Your lawyer was a PG&E lawyer. 8 persons were allowed to die in San Bruno because of CPUC inaction. No one has been charged with manslaughter. Please reject this phony opt-out. I can tell you, as a coastal commissioner, we never allowed a person less than 2 minutes to testify before us, even in a turbulent But our lives are in your hands. I thank you very much.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Amy O'Hare. I'm a San Francisco resident and Assistant Director for Research for Stop Smart Meters. Last June, I was arrested for blocking a Wellington installer in my neighborhood. In September, my case was heard by neighborhood court, very sympathetically, I may add. To make amends for using valuable police time, I was asked to write a letter to you, President Peevey, which I will submit for the record today. President Peevey, I gather you are quite taken with this program you have shepherded, replacing all our old analog meters with sophisticated electronic devices, so I'm directing my remarks to the other commissioners, Commissioner Ferrin, Commissioner Sandoval, Commissioner Simon, and Commissioner Florio. It is in the best tradition of this body to be concerned for the public health and safety issues arising from its programs. The California PUC has set a different precedent than for this current issue because, for instance, it already has guidelines for minimizing human exposure to another World Health Organization Class 2B carcinogen, extra low frequency EMF. This type of EM field was so designated by WHO 10 years ago. High power lines and the like are cited with this in mind in California. Recent technical disclosures by the utilities about the emissions show up the complex and unusual nature of these devices. These facts were not disclosed when the program was being considered, and they call the whole thing into question. You folks have a responsibility not to hide behind FCC RF guidelines regarding the safety of these devices for human health. Like the Commission did for ELF EMF, gather independent research and knowledge, and please review the program.
Ed Kramer.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Ed Kramer. I'm from Santa Cruz, California, and I came here to address your board respectfully. I'm suffering from the EMF and the RF. I get memory loss. I get the incredible sounds from that technology, and due to the lack of sleep, I usually only get about 3.5 hours or 4 hours of sleep. Somehow I'm lucky enough to fall asleep at the end of the day, and I can get a little bit of sleep out of just sheer exhaustion. And then when I wake up, I can't get back to sleep because of that sound that I hear, which is not really coming in through my ear canals. It's penetrating the side of my skull because of the technology. And it's not just the smart meter, not the electric smart meter or the gas smart meter, but it may even be the repeater station that may be on a power pole near my house. It's just a continual noise, and I'm actually trying to get out of this country. I have my house listed up for sale. I just don't want to be here anymore. This is too much. And I think, if you want kind words, I think you can just listen to all the people that have been speaking here and just do what they want. Just have that technology. Thank you very much for considering what I've been saying.
Well, thank you very much. that concludes the public comment portion of our agenda this morning. We've heard from everyone.
More people want to speak. Three of us drove Mr. Kramer
You
here.
know, you're supposed to sign in. We have a process.
We
here.
did. We tried.
You have to let them speak.
let him speak. We were refused.
It's in the rules.
He got here late.
It's in the rules.
They raised their hand.
Let the people speak.
There's three more of you.
You have to let them speak.
Come on. No, I don't have to let him speak, but I will. Okay?
Oh, that's big of you. Great.
We have a process. It's very clear. It's on our website. You sign up for the process. You have to get here on time. You don't get here on time, you don't have the opportunity to speak. I'm letting you speak because we're trying to be courteous to those that travel here. But we have a very clear process like any other public agency in the state of California.
It's if you're legally incorrect.
So do not argue.
How about due process?
Yeah, you're legally incorrect.
Go ahead. Identify yourself, please.
My name is Dundee Gadsden from Aptos. I spent 2 hours in the car trying to get here. On
And that's why
time,
we're
we were
late.
a few minutes late. But when I started this whole process, I thought you people were naive, uneducated, or somehow just didn't get it and you were being fooled by PG&E. I don't believe that anymore. Now, the only thing that makes sense when I look at your actions is either number one, you're being threatened by people. I don't know who. Or you're being paid by people, bribed. And whatever the case is, we need people that have true integrity, that will stand up and say, I don't care whatever that is, I'm going to stand up for the people, I'm going to do my job, I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm not going to allow this to happen to all of these people. We need you to stand up. If you believe in God, He wants you to do the right thing. If you don't believe in God, then go by your gut, because you know in your gut what you're doing is wrong. These people are suffering.
I'm Stephanie Thomas from Berkeley, and I'm a lucky one who still has their analog meter, both the gas and electric. And I'm willing to send in the readings. The other option, and I don't feel I need to pay extra to keep my meter. The other options has been mentioned about the switching, I don't know how to say it, switching mode power supply. Anyway, that causes dirty electricity. I'm a cancer patient. I don't want dirty electricity in my home. I have complete wired things in my house. Of course, I'm surrounded by a network around. My sleep is disrupted. I have a 90-year-old neighbor who has a smart meter now under her bedroom, and she used to walk blocks to the store and be active, and now she's declining, and she can't afford to pay extra for a meter. Next door is a family with 2 young children. They're obviously more susceptible to these things. So I ask you to allow us to keep the analogs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mary Eleazar from Berkeley. This is so emotional. I'm sorry, I'm a retired teacher. I live in a home with 10 smart meters. 5 feet from my stepson's body and about 15 feet from our bed. And I have since been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and the rheumatologist specialist at Kaiser informed me, who diagnosed me, he said that the people with fibromyalgia are now known not to get the 4th stage of sleep. I didn't even know there were 4 stages of sleep. There are 4 stages, and the fibromyalgia patients tend not to get the 4th stage of sleep. They go, I said, oh, you mean they wake up after 3 stages? He said, no, they often go from stage 1, 2, 3 back to 1. And that's a common thread, and I believe, besides my other symptoms that have been mentioned here, I think that it has something to do with all these smart meters, and I do need the analog meters back, and I don't know how to get it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Teresa Kennett. I'm from San Francisco. And I just simply request that you folks, as human beings and as people with hearts, listen to what everyone is saying. And if there's a possibility that harm is being done to your fellow human beings, just do the right thing and let them keep their analog meters and let them have their analog meters replaced if they're being sickened by the smart meters. That's all you have to do. It couldn't be that hard. Please help people. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak in a little bit early. My name is Angela Flynn. I stayed at a house that had a smart meter over the Thanksgiving weekend. I couldn't sleep, and I woke up at 1 in the morning, and I was like, why, the meter was downstairs, I was 2 rooms over, I thought it would do okay. So I broke out my meter, which measures the radiation, and I found that the wiring of the house was putting off fairly high levels of radiation. Yes, well below the FCC level, but it was about 1 to 3 microwatts per centimeter squared. And this was coming off of all the wires, all through the house. This stuff is putting this high frequency energy into the wiring of our homes. There was a recent study with Wi-Fi laptops, and it found that radiation at the level of 1.1 microwatts per centimeter squared causes the sperm to be slower moving and to have genetic mutations, genetic damage. This is a serious consequence. This is what we're getting in our environment today. So we really need to address this and stop the whole program.
Toxic sludge is good for you. Lies, damn lies, and the public relations industry is the title of the book by John Stauber and Sheldon Rampton. We could also say toxic radiation is good for you. Lies, damn lies, in the public relations industry. In that book is a quote by Alex Carey, where he says, the 20th century has been characterized by 3 developments of great political importance: the growth of democracy, the growth of corporate power, and the growth of corporate propaganda as a means of protecting corporate power against democracy. I think that's what we have here. I say that PUC stands for Profit for Utility Corporations, and PG&E symbolizes poison, gas, and explosions. This marriage of the PUC and PG&E is a disastrous marriage. The outcome, we all get screwed. We do not consent to this unholy, undemocratic alliance. We need local public utilities. We need the corporate charter of PG&E revoked, criminal investigation for crimes against humanity and nature. We know the bees are also dying from this, and without the bees, our pollinators, we cannot live. Revoke the corporate charter, local utilities, and this program. Thank you.
Okay, that now concludes the public comment portion, and we're going to go to our regular agenda. Hello? You wish to speak too?
Yeah, very briefly. Thanks. I really don't know what the...
Please identify yourself.
I'm sorry. It's Robert Feldman from San Francisco. I don't know what the point of taking all this public comment on these utility issues are for anyway, especially for the smart meter situation. Why all of us, why should all of us, including you folks, CPUC commissioners, even bother with these seemingly futile exercises if you pay no attention to what all these speakers have to say today and have said over the years? On the smart meter issue, you've been in the back pocket of PG&E, it seems, at every turn. I know that PG&E and the Commission are married to one another, just like the pharmaceutical industry and the FDA. Very few PG&E ratepayers want smart meters in their homes or apartments, and we've been telling you this for years now. You can at least stand up to PG&E just once and decree that the utility provides a real opt-out alternative to the smart meter. And the real alternative is to allow ratepayers to keep or to reinstall their conventional analog meters and not to have to pay extortion money to PG&E for this. Thank you.
I'm just kind of, because I'm not well. I did not want the smart meter. I asked them not to put it on, and before I knew it, I came home one day, it was on. I can't sleep. I have electrical currents like running through my body. My daughter can't sleep. You know, our health is not good. And so I just came to be in support and to really ask you to give me my analog meter back.
All right, very good. Now we're going to move to our consent agenda. Thank you all for sharing your thoughts with us. I think at our next meeting, which is the 15th, it's the last meeting of the year, it's a very, very busy meeting. We will have the public comment period at the end of the meeting. That way you have a chance to talk longer if you wish, perhaps. We also have a simple rule that you're only supposed to speak
Give
once.
us the time
on a
of the time, please.
I can't tell you the time. How much else goes on here, but you will have to communicate with us. It'll be in the afternoon. All right, thank all of you for coming. We're now going to turn to our consent agenda.